there's something wrong with this image, and it's not only the fact that he has 6 fingers, but it's the fact that it's a really good ad, you know, for an image. I mean, you've got the bold title, you've got the really, you know, good subtitle that, you know, adds more context. It's automate, elevate, transform patient care with seamless workflows, simplify, scale, succeed. Like, it has the tagline and the logo, which is my logo. You might be wondering why I'm showing you this. It's because I just created it in an n8n workflow, which is this one, if it's ever going to load. Okay, yeah, I just created this, and this is the culmination of a week's work of like working on these sort of ideas, these sort of image generation ideas and like marketing campaigns. This is the culmination. I will go through everything with you right now, and I'm just gonna go tell you something really quickly, and it's the fact that like none of this would be possible if it weren't for 2 things. The first is Placid, which is basically just the thing that allows us to like sort of to like have a template that we can put ideas on. So this is the template. Like, you can see that same logo, you can see that same tagline, and it has the big bold header and the bold subheading. This is the template that we're using. So it's on Placid. If like, you should probably know how to use Placid by now. It's just very simple. Like, you, whatever name this is, you, okay, I'm gonna go through it in the thing anyway, so like I might as well just go through it right now. So let's come to the forms, and like I'm just going to submit a new form here, a new form entry. Just say done quickly so that I can access the actual interface. Okay, so the image description I'm going to go with this time is something that might pertain to you. So it's like, I want an image that sort of tells automation specialists to take sort of content automation more seriously, in the context of creating content with AI tools, right? So the target audience is automation specialists who want to scale their reach online. So if you've been watching these, then you'd understand that I would probably like be putting in an image over here, but this time I don't have to, and the reason behind that is because our image is going to get generated by AI, and not just any AI model. It's going to be the Flux model that is being hosted on Hugging Face, and I won't really explain to you how I got that working. What I will say is that for this type of workflow, it works like when I set the image type to AI image, and it's going to drag in sort of the latest AI image, as you'll see. So I just submitted the form. If we go back to the data, you'll see there's a new entry in there with all of the information that we might actually want. Let's come here to the workflow and just run it real quickly, because I just love it, and like especially with the green lines, like I love seeing the green lines light up. Firstly, let me check something. Okay, this is great. Let's run it. Boom, boom, boom. So as you can tell, it's like it just generated some text content, stored the text content. Now it's generating the AI image through Flux. If it ever fails, it would come to this point, and then if it has a failure rate, then it would like stop. But if it didn't fail, like if it's still just generating the image, it would just try again after a few seconds. So that's, yeah. Now it's just generating this. Oh, okay, it managed to generate it. Now it's storing the image in the Google Cloud Storage, which is a bucket that I have up there. And then after storing that, it should be able to have a link, a media link, that it can then use to reference and store in Airtable. So that's what's happening in these next few nodes. It creates the object that's going to store the URL, and then it puts that object in the attachments field in Airtable. We can actually go back and because I like seeing the fields like fill in. I don't know if this is like finished loading, but okay, this is the new thing that we're dealing with right now, and we should soon see these two images fill in over here. And we'll also start seeing like the status changing. So while we're waiting for like that to happen, I guess I could explain a bit more about what's actually happening. So the one thing that is changing what is happening with all these images is this one field, the image type. If the image type is AI image, then we don't have to upload the original image. Like here it's a thumbnail image, which means it's like how we set it up is we are taking a screenshot of whatever workflow that we're working on, and then we want it to convert it to a thumbnail based on that image and based on whatever context that we gave it. But here it's going to be a bit different. Like this is also a screenshot, but it does screenshot marketing, so it's a screenshot of a workflow, and then it's also the type of context, and you could post that on like a social media or something to generate some eyes to some people to like come and see your content. Let's come back here. Google Cloud Storage does this sometimes where it's just like it just lags. I'm going to stop this and then I'm going to run it again. And you'll notice that it didn't run through this top layer. I'll explain how that's happening, but as you can see, Google Cloud actually didn't have that same problem again. So yeah, and now it's running through Placid, and then it stores the content, and then boom bada bing, we should have what we were looking for here. So if you remember properly what we wrote in there, it was how we wanted automation specialists to start taking automated content more seriously for their strategies. Now let's see what it came up with. So this is the generated image, and this is the marketing campaign type image. So it's like scale your success, automate your reach with AI tools. Very simple, very easy, but I think the most important part of these is like this person who is looking at the camera and smiling. If you're scrolling through social media and you see this type of image, like you'll probably stop. And that's the one thing that you'll notice with these images. Like they always have a focal point, and it's all because of the prompt. It's all because of how we're prompting it. Let me go through like each and every step and just tell you about what's happening. So this first node is effectively getting the latest added record to Airtable that not only has the image type as AI image, but also has the status as not done, right? Because what you'll notice here is that whenever it's filled in these two images, it goes to done. We don't want it to be done. And that's why, like, if I run this again, it's going to drag in another AI image, probably one of these ones that aren't filled in. And I could do that maybe at the end just to show you. But yeah, we limited it to give us one record because we want the latest one single record. And we obviously did a descending order direction, because it gives us the latest order, so it gives us the latest timestamp basically. So here it goes into a check, so it checks the status of the thing. It checks the status again, so it checks if it has to create the text content effectively. So if you remember properly how we in here, what we did was we changed this image description value, right? We put some content in here, and then we specified that we wanted an AI image. That's all we did. And then when it comes in here, it's going to check the status here, because the initial status would be this, to create. So if it's to create, then it comes in here and it creates the content. If it's not to create, then it will go down here and then do another check on the status, because there are 4 different statuses that it could be. It could be to create, it could be to use, it could be used, and it could be done. So yeah, to create, to use, used, done. By the end of this, it's totally done. So I could actually just zoom in so that you see the node titles much better. But yeah, so this is the OpenAI node. It's effectively the part where we, create the text content that's going to appear on the thing, and also the image generation prompt. Let me run through it, because like this is part of the magic. This is the system prompt. So you are an AI assistant specialized in marketing, branding, and creative content generation. Your goal is to create impactful, visually appealing, and persuasive campaign materials tailored to the given directive and goal. You produce results that are emotionally engaging and relatable to target audience. Right. This is why we define the target audience when we were doing the image description. It's to provide more context on like how it should be formatting it, how it should be approaching the problem. We not only told it what we wanted, but we told it who we were targeting, and you'll soon understand that that's how it generated the image. That's how it came up with the idea of how to generate the image, because the image that it generates is effectively the person. So it is the target having accomplished their goals. So because like you have to understand, since I was targeting automation specialists, then all I had to tell the model is to sort of look at the automation specialist pain points and then give me an image or an image description of an automation specialist who has already solved those problems, like with a smile on their face. Because every automation specialist probably wants to just smile. They want to have already accomplished all their scaling with content. Like they just want to have a smile on their face, and that's the type of ad that you want to see. Like you want to see your potential future self. So let's look at the user prompt, and yeah, it's pretty fucking long. So excuse my language. I mean, I swear, I feel like we all swear, but it is what it is. So yeah, it's pretty fucking long. So yeah, your task is to generate a background image prompt and create text content for a marketing campaign based on the input provided. And we specify what the input is, and then we also give it the input, which is the image description that we come up with. You'll see here that the image description actually changes, and this is because what we do in the next sort of node is we update that image description with a new image description that it comes up with, which is the background image prompt. You'll soon understand why we do that. Like what we come up with is the idea, what it comes up with is the image prompt, and then we use that image prompt to generate the image content and do other things. So yeah, like we specify that we want the output to be in JSON format, and then we also specify that we want 3 things. So effectively, detailed visual description of the background image, compelling title that aligns with the campaign's goals, and an engaging subtitle that serves as a call to action. And then we tell it to output everything in JSON, right? And then these are the rules. So the vivid imagery has the most rules because it's also the most the most crucial aspect, because it's like image content has to speak to someone's sort of not just the way they think, but like the way they want to think. I don't know if you understand me. Like yes, you can sort of give people messages with text, but with just an image, like you can express emotions. You can show people sort of the future that they want to see. You can like show them something that they could have in their life, which is what we want to do in this marketing campaign. So we're telling it that the person image must represent the target audience aspirations, which is what I spoke about. It's like the pain point, and then having the target audience, having the image represent a like one of the target audience like it has to be one of them. So it has to be an automation specialist, and then it also has to be an automation specialist that has achieved their aspirations, that has achieved their goal, that has solved their pain points. So yeah, they should embody success and satisfaction. The subject's expression should convey positivity, empowerment, or relief. Like it's very simple things like that, but they also are very crucial, and that's why we saying it like so many times in so many points, and then everything else is basically just to like make it more cohesive. So align the visual description with the campaign's theme. The title should be 2 to 5 words, and it should be attention grabbing and use emotional or powerful language. The subtitle should be concise, like 3 to 10 words, and it must be emotionally engaging. Connect with the audience's needs, desires, and pain points. And remember how we said we gave it the target audience that it actually had to deal with, and it was important just for this, like just for the generation. So that was the user prompt, and the assistant prompt is much simpler. Like all it does is just gives a possible output, like an example output formatted in JSON, and yeah, that's basically how it works on this side. So after this, it would go ahead and it would store this data in the Airtable, so in the same record. We pull in the same record ID that we got in the first one, that was pulling in the latest record that we just added, and then we're putting in the title, the subtitle, and then we're completely updating this whatever the description was, which was where our initial description of what image we wanted. We're putting in this prompt there, so we're like effectively just overwriting it. If we wanted to like pull in the initial one, we could have done that by pulling in we could have said $, Airtable get the image.item.json image description, and then added a new line, and then added the new background image prompt. But it's unnecessary for us since we don't care about the initial one. The initial one was just an idea. This new one is going to be the prompt that generates the image. So that's why it's more useful to us. And then it would have come here where it would pull in the record again, just to like have it as a sort of a placeholder for the rest of the workflow. But yeah, this is why we have these if nodes that check the status at any time, so that we don't do any unnecessary checks or tasks. These if nodes are very useful because you don't want to generate content and every single time, like even if you've generated before, like if you say are developing this and you run into an error, the if nodes are very useful to like make sure that you do the least amount of work every single time. So it will just skip over this and just come in, and then we still get that. So yeah, this node just works as a point of reference and pulls in the data again. And then we come here. This is I guess you could call it the Flux section. It's just a Flux image generation and then storing in Airtable again. So here, this is probably the most special node in this place. It's the node where we set the image, the style prompt and the image prompt. So I'll just go into this so that you understand how cool this is. The way Flux works is that it uses the style prompt and when we're sort of like sending in our, I guess you call it the body of content, the payload, we're going to send in this style prompt and then the image prompt together. The style prompt is going to tell Flux the type of image that we want. So rule of thirds, meaning that we want whatever image it comes up with, we wanted to separate the image into like 3 sections, and then we want the focal point to occupy one of those sections, right? That's basically it. Golden ratio is another sort of like image referencing type of thing. I'm not entirely sure what it means, but yeah, like you can imagine like what kinds of like sort of like all of these sort of ideas, they tell the model, the image generation model, what kind of image we want. So we want hyper realistic, we want natural lighting, we want high contrast, we want octane render, photorealism, 8K, 7AR 69. This is the aspect ratio. And yeah, like we even send it a sort of like a main, style that it could use. So design a poignant, immersive scene that captures the essence of an emotional journey. The image should evoke deep feelings and connection using realistic proportions and subtle expressive details. Like, because that's effectively what you want. You don't want your marketing to like just land, you know, in the air. Like you want it to be compelling. You want someone to see it and just like feel something, awaken inside them. Like just beyond the text, you just want to see the image and you want to feel something. You want to look into that sort of like that AI generated images eyes, and you want to feel something. So this is what it's about. We just want to tell it to make the image as emotionally evocative as possible. So here we're pulling in the image prompt again, and this is just to like format it so that the next HTTP request can just go in very simply. And I'm going to just run through it really quickly. So this is a post method to the API, the inference API for Hugging Face, and the model that we're using is Flux.1 Schnell. And yeah, the like I don't really I don't really I don't really feel like showing you how to like set this up. I feel like it's very simple with Hugging Face. Like they kind of give you like free credits when you set things up like this. You set up a Hugging Face account. You click on the image at the top right. That is your account, and then you'll see like there's a section for API token, and then you can just go in there and find your API token, and then you find sort of you could just take this URL and then use it afterwards. Like it's very simple, very easy. There's a lot of resources out there, so just read the documentation. But let me just move on. Like if you want this workflow, I'll totally like have it for free. You can get it for free in the link in the description. It's gonna take you to Gumroad, where like you might see a price, but like don't just put a 0 in there if you don't really like want to pay anything. Just put a 0 in there, it's totally fine. I'm all about just giving value because it took me time to generate this, but I just want to share my ideas and creations with other people, because I feel like this is going to be useful to like someone else, and I would love to see someone not only use it but make it better. Like that would be so cool. So yeah, as you can see, like it takes in the image prompt and the style prompt, and then it generates an image. And if we click view here, we'll see that same image that we saw before. I'm just gonna click it just to show you. Yeah, it's the same guy smiling at the camera. This is the automation specialist, chilling at his desk with a bunch of palm trees inside the house somehow. These AI generated images, like they're very good, but like as you saw in the beginning, sometimes they have 6 fingers, and it is what it is, but it looks genuinely nice. Like you could see the natural lighting, you could see the smile on the face. Like when you see that, you also kind of like get that sense of smiling, even though you might not know that he's an automation specialist at first. The text that we add later on makes it so much more interesting. And also this kind of like subtle detail of the climbing bar chart here, which is representative of the fact that his content is working out, is just so subtle. Like you wouldn't even think about it, but just look at this, like this reflection. Oh my god, like AI image generation is getting so good. Like I feel like one day it'll be so difficult to like sort of look at something that was generated by AI and be like, oh yeah, this was generated by AI. I mean, unless it has 6 fingers, of course, but that's a whole different story. So let me tell you how this works. We have an error execution kind of thing, because sometimes there's errors, and on error we wanted to continue anyway because we just want to try again after some time, but we need to check the condition that it errored at. So we would check that the condition is not 429, right? Because if it is 429, we want to stop. But if it isn't, then we want to, wait for 30 seconds and then go back. So because 429, I think it would mean that the either I think it might be like the model is down, or like it didn't generate anything. So yeah, if it's not 429, then it means that we can try again only after some time. So we wait for 30 seconds and then we try again, and then it's going to give us a binary sort of piece of data, and we have to store that in Google Cloud Storage. Again, I'm not going to show you how to set this up. I'm not going to show you how to set up a bucket. Just go to Google Cloud. There's a Google Cloud Storage section. Go there, set up a bucket, name it. This is the name of my bucket because Tech Fusion Alchemy is the name of my I guess you can call it agency. And then we're storing the input binary field, the data field, and what we're doing is we're creating an object in this bucket. When you're creating the bucket, make sure that it's publicly accessible. There's documentation on this. Just like if you don't make sure that it's publicly accessible, you won't be able to store anything when you're trying to store it in Airtable. So just remember that. Okay, so here we are effectively formatting the URL so that we can put it inside an Airtable, because Airtable takes in an array of objects with URLs inside them. So that is it. We're creating an array of objects, and the first object has a URL inside it. That's it. And then we're storing this object in the Airtable. We're also storing the URL just to make sure that we can call it again in the future, or like just for like any other purposes that we might have. It's very useful to just like have an instance of this URL in text format instead of this image format that the image attachment field would have. So yeah. Next, so you might notice that there is this other line. And it would have, if there was ever an error anywhere here, like after it stored this content and it changed the status of the record to used, because that's exactly what it did here. It changed the status to used. If there was anything that happened like afterwards, if there was any error, we could just run it again and it would come through, not here, but it would come through here since there's a different status now. And we're just generating the marketing campaign again. And this, as you might notice, is the same as that. We're just creating a new placeholder for the rest of the workflow. We're just pulling in the record again, just so that the rest of the workflow could understand. And so this next node, what it does is it generates the payload that is going to be taken in by Placid. So yeah, what we need is the record that we're getting from, which is, funnily enough, the previous node. And then we're getting this, and then we're extracting the title, the subtitle, and the image URL, and the UUID. Now, you might be wondering, how are we getting the UUID? The UUID is the ID of the template that you're using in Placid. So it's the ID of this template, and how you get it is by going to the main page, and then it would like show like all the templates that you're using. It's going to appear like right here on the side-ish. Yeah, this one. So you would either like click this and then take it to your workflow. But what I did is I set up a formula based on these, based on one of the fields. It computes which template I want to use at any given time. So based on the image type that I want to generate, it computes the template UUID that I want to use. I'll just show it to you real quick because I think this is pretty cool that you can set things up like this in Airtable. So yeah, here is the formula coming up right now. So if the image type is thumbnail image, then we want this template. If the image type is screenshot, then we want this template. If the image type is AI image, we want this template. Very simple, very easy, but it works every time. As you can see, like the template UUIDs are changing every single time. We're pulling in this value, and we're also pulling in a bunch of other values which we need, like the title, the subtitle, and the image URL that we just stored. And then which is, funnily enough, the image URL of the image that is being stored inside the Airtable, not the image from the S3. We don't need that one. So this is the HTTP request. It's going to Placid, and if you've been watching my videos recently, then you probably know how this works. It's just a post request to the Placid API for like the images, right? You set content type as application JSON, and then you send in a raw, sort of a raw content type with application JSON content again, and then you just send in this payload that you've set up in the previous node, right? Very simple, very easy. And the next part is to just wait, because image generation takes a while, as you saw previously when it was trying to generate the AI image. Although this one was pretty quick, but in Placid, what I found is that generally it takes a bit, like a bit less than 10 seconds, because like it always finishes after 10 seconds. So it always finishes after 2 loops, and this node is waiting for 5 seconds. So it waits for 5 seconds, and then it tries to query the status of the image generation. It's like, have you generated the image? And then the status would either be a finished or a not finished. If it's not finished, we check if there's any problems, like if there's any errors, and then if there is an error, then we start the workflow. But if there isn't an error, we come back and then we wait again for another 5 seconds, and then we query the status. And then if it's succeeded, it will probably just go through like it did here, and you'll see that the output would be the finished, the status of finished, as I just said. So here again, what we want to do is we want to not only update because like how it would work if we just put in this new URL, this new image URL, it would literally update everything. Like it would get rid of everything that was stored in the attachments field before. So we need to grab the previous attachments, and then we need to create a new attachments object, and then we need to merge them into a new array. And that's exactly what this code is doing. And then we're returning that JSON, images attachments, like the merged attachments. We're returning that back into the workflow so that we can store it in Airtable here, so that we're not just getting this one new image, but we're getting 2 of them, which is the one before and the one afterwards. So that's how it works. Very simple. And I did say I was going to run it again just to show you how cool it would be for it to like go quickly just the first time. So let's go. So here it generated the text content again, it stored it, it's generating the image now, and it should be able to finish within 10 seconds, because Flux is kind of quick. Sometimes it does error though, so it is what it is. Like a lot of people use Flux. Let's watch the fields kind of light up, and it goes done, and now we know that it's done. So let's come here and check this out. This is the image that was just created, and I just want to see what it looks like. So it has this guy who is literally, like, he looks like he has wings coming out of his back. Very cool. They look like light bulbs too. That's so cool. Anyway, it's like, embrace your horizon, unlock opportunities, and thrive today. I mean, very cool, very cool. I could show you like a few more. Build your future, unlock creativity with effortless automation. Like, and the logo keeps showing up like effortlessly. So like, you can only imagine if you set something like this up where you could just give it an idea and then give it a target audience, and then just watch these images just come up. You don't even have to generate it once like me. You could have the Airtable like autofill 10 times, and then you run that through 10 times, and then it would create 10 different campaign images for you, and then you could like post those with the same idea in mind to just generate interest in the direction that you want to generate it. And I think this type of workflow is very cool. Like, I personally would love to use something like this more often, especially for like visually, like visual platforms like Instagram and Facebook. This kind of content would rule there, so I'm going to be using it more often. That and the thumbnail image generation content. If you want to know about that, like how I generated the thumbnail, I might put that link in the description as well, so just check it out. And I'm also going to put in the link to this whole workflow in the description for free. As I said, it's Gumroad. You don't have to pay anything. Just like you could put a 0 in there and like just get the thing like for free. I just want to share with you guys, so that yeah, especially if you watched it for this long. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow probably.